Can anyone remember?
See if I wrote it down like I'm supposed to.
I know at least one of you takes notes.
Aha, found them.
If not, there will be a problem because you had a plan, but I did not write down the details of it.
Right, so there were two tunnels, and we went down the one behind the box pedestal. We found the stretched out rotted dudes. That's how I wrote them down. So we killed a bunch of them. The only thing we learned about them is they had fought Drow earlier, and we had a plan for collapsing the tunnel. But there was also a hole in the floor, I think, that we wanted to take a look at before we collapsed it.
It goes. It's like. Here, let's go back to my highly scientific tunnel diagram. It's the hole that's like over here. It basically leads downwards. It is unclear where exactly it goes.
All the way to China.
Isn't this world flat?
Yeah, unlikely. This world is flat.
I mean, it's like the other side of a pancake, I guess.
You will, well, you can try and tunnel through the bottom of Yualia. It will, it would be an interesting experience, that is for sure.
Then we found the sub-ocean, guys.
You found what?
The sub-ocean. You know, like when you break a video game and you just fall into nothing.
No, there's a couple things down there. Several. There are many things down there. I don't think you'll like any of them. But anyhow, yes, you had a plan to collapse one of the two big entrances into. Was it this one or the other, or the entrance to Warforged storage?
I think this was the one we wanted to collapse because we wanted to try and clear out Warforged storage if that was possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys had a plan to collapse the Warforged, to collapse the tunnel leading out here. You had sensed some humanoids that were weird somewhere below the hole at the end of that tunnel. And a couple miles below you, you sense scattered, non-weird humanoids.
I can't remember, did we figure out what the gross things we killed used to be at all, or had any clues?
Nobody was quite sure. Somebody tried poking into them, and they got a pop of spores in the face that they very narrowly dodged.
Oh yeah.
But they're not a kind of humanoid we're familiar with.
No. They're very obviously. Yeah, they're very obviously like unnaturally stretched.
Slenderman.
You're not totally wrong. If Slenderman had a cloak of his own rotting skin and a very long sword, it would be pretty close.
Like, if these are your creations, you really need to get a really good picture of them, because that's awesome.
The things with cloaks of their own rotting skin.
That'd be an awesome horror picture for Inktober.
If only I could draw.
Same.
Undead long pig. They're not exactly undead. They could be long pig. Just very spoiled long pig. Anywho, so you all were down here with some clerics, and Garrett, who was knocked out of bear form and into the shape of a woman.
We're running straight into a moonbeam.
Yep. And Monok and Binok are also down here with you. You were poking at a couple corpses around the hole, and you burned a big chunk of rot out of the way so that you could look at the corpses and look at the hole.
Oh yes, the devil's anus.
If you must, I suppose.
Oh, we absolutely must.
Then I guess let it be so.
Still, the plan is to plug it, so.
Well,
Way up your butt, Morty. Way up your butt.
That's the worst butt plug I've ever heard of.
Or technically the best if it's holding back that shit.
So to speak.
Wah wah.
Yeah, alright. Fucking Christ. Alright. So yeah, you have a big hole, a lot of dead bodies, and some people around you to help you out. And a big hole above you as well. What do?
I'm gonna ask Minok if he's the guy who knows how to collapse the tunnel efficiently.
Yes, it is him. We have a explosive of sufficient size to collapse this tunnel. Yes.
Begin making preparations to do that.
Make it so.
Pretty much. Yeah, don't blow it up yet, but
I will need to return above to collect the materials and finish preparing the explosive.
all right then.
All right. Monok heads back up. He climbs. I believe you guys dangled a rope last time you came down.
yeah.
So Monok.
After you almost fell.
Yes.
I think that was with the rope, actually.
Oh yeah.
But yes.
Yep. Just be glad the paladin commander wasn't there to see it. He might stop calling you sir. Monok climbs back on up the rope and disappears from view above. And I realize you guys are still on the other map. Other than that, you have two big holes, one ahead, one behind.
Yep, that's generally normal.
Which one do you want to go down?
Euphemisms aside, did we want to go down either one of these? I thought this was the place we wanted to blow up.
The whole
No,
back-
more do we. I think we want to look down to make sure there's nothing to learn that way. I don't think so, but
Yeah, learn
The
as
whole back up
much.
is the one to leave. That's the one that goes like back up to the box
Right.
control room. So ideally, you will go through one of these at some point. At least one.
Yeah. Like, how far could we check the devil's anus at this point?
got a lamp on a string we can dangle down there.
Dancing lights?
That'll do it.
I don't have them.
I do! Haha.
Huzzah!
I didn't put in the range though. Huh. Interesting.
Like 60 feet, yeah?
Something like that.
Oh, it's 120 feet. Bitchin'. Alright, so 120 feet, and you can move it as a bonus action up to 60 feet on your turn. Oh, they're very not bright though. They're 10-foot radius. Okay. So you send your dancing lights down into the hole. After a little bit, the hole appears to, as opposed to being a straight down tunnel, it appears to open up into a larger cavern.
Anybody down there we can see?
You can't really see much down there, though.
Is there
Dancing
a
lights
bunch of rot all over this?
hit light, apparently. There is. There is rot all down the sides of the tunnel, yes. Make a perception check while you're, I assume, peeking down after the dancing lights.
Yeah.
Enough. You hear something moving down below, and you see what looks like a limb or two stick out from the edge of the from beyond the edge of the tunnel.
Moving limb?
Moving limb. They are retracted very quickly.
Interesting.
Is it like one of the large ones or just a normal?
You can't really tell. Like this, the opening is maybe 80 feet down. You can't really tell. It's just there is a limb.
If I'd been able to see that, it might, Stone might speak out at Undercommon. Who are you?
You get no response.
Can I chuck a magic stone down that way?
Sure. I mean, you can like drop it down the hole. Sure.
Yeah. wonder if this actually does the thing. Huh.
Huh. I mean, you throw it down. The magic stone skips off the side of the wall and bounces into something, and there is a faint shriek of pain.
Yell at an undercommon again. Reveal yourself.
There is more rustling and more shrieking, but no noise, and no one reveals themselves.
Kind of furrows her brow and shakes her head. Looks back at Diggeroy.
I'll move the dancing lights back up to the top.
All right.
Would I know by any chance what would make shrieking noises like that? Nature-wise?
Roll nature. I almost just said Minox, and then I'm like, no, that's the wrong universe. Yeah. There's a lot of underdark creatures that shriek when they're in pain. Most of them don't have mouths to speak with. Could be anything from a hook horror, what the hell's the name of it, to a dark mantle, to even sometimes there are minor demons or other strange monsters that show up. You've heard most of those things shrieking, though. It doesn't sound like any of them.
Just relay that slowly.
I'm slightly disturbed that she's highly familiar with the shriekings of the Underdark.
We spent much time there before we became part of the Cristona. Many things travel through our tunnels.
But whatever this is, you don't know it.
It is new.
It seems to be living, if that's the word for it, amongst the rot.
That is troubling as these, and pointing to the dead things. We were attempting to seek out a way to survive against it also, but this does not seem like survival.
No, it does not. But I can imagine why they would make the choice anyway.
If there
Are we
was
ready to
choice.
collapse the tunnel?
So I'll just sigh a bit and give a slight nod. We wish we could understand more. We still feel very in darkness about it after so long still.
I won't feel better until I know how to destroy it. All right. If we're ready, tell them to collapse the tunnel.
Monarch is going to need a little, maybe half an hour more to finish assembling a bomb for you.
Okay.
Also, you should probably get out of there yourselves.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Fear, if anything, might ask some people to throw more fire down in the rot around the hole as much as possible.
Well, while we're here and not being actively attacked, if we can get like one of the clerics or paladins down here, or some of the druids, and maybe they can experiment with ways of potentially damaging this stuff.
You have a bunch of clerics and a druid with you right now.
Yeah.
Funny that.
Invite them to come join the party.
Yeah, ask Garrett if she has any knowledge of spells or anything like that that might be more effective.
Garrett furrows her brow and starts examining the rot. Maybe? Give me a few minutes.
Give her a nod.
The clerics, I believe you've already told them about your experiments with blessing it.
Yes. But it would probably be good for at least some of them to come down here and see it for themselves, so they at least know what they're looking for.
You have a bunch of 5 of them with you.
Oh, right.
It's these dudes.
Yeah.
So they step up to the bits of rot. And so each of them has at least a little bit of holy water. And they start out by just dripping some of that on the rot to see how it reacts in bigger concentrations. And so, as you've seen before, the rot kind of burns and dies off. And then after that, each of them starts setting up at least part of a little circle and gets to work trying individual blessing rituals on the rot to see if which one of them will have effect.
Kristona's gonna keep a watch out of this and be ready to react in case any of the rot lashes out at them. Like it's done before.
It sure has. Do you guys want to do anything while they're doing this, while you're waiting for Monarch to finish up?
I don't have anything else I can think of at the moment.
All right. All right. So Garrett, after poking at the rot for a little bit, so to speak, leans down over it and begins chanting in Druidic. she tries something. The clerics are all finishing up with their blessings. Um, 3 of them find that theirs worked quite well. 2 of them didn't. They all gather. They spread around this section of rock, and they all start laying out a combined circle, which they quickly finish up and start using a impromptu kind of combination of the working blessings to see if that will do any good.
I was just watching all that really intently.
So they eventually finish up, and they end out. Shit, that's the wrong kind of drawing. They end out with a lovely big semicircle cut out of the rock that they were chanting around. They're basically experimenting with different blessings and different spells to see which ones work best.
Any kind of pattern to what spells work or don't?
Not yet with two attempts. But they've got maybe 25 minutes. They'll keep trying.
Give it time. The religious people are using the scientific method. Sample size is everything.
Here's the thing. I'm not asking them to perform a scientific discovery. I want them to engineer an antifungus.
Fuck yeah.
As soon as it works, I want to know.
They're well, they spread out. They keep casting spells and trying stuff. You see one of them summons a spiritual weapon in the shape of a hammer and starts hammering away at the rot. And that has minimal effect. You see several others try and cast healing spells on it. Others cast blessings. The whole gamut. There's even one priest that tries a divination spell on it to see if that will have any effect.
How does that work?
From the sound of it, it doesn't.
Yeah, I was like,
what? You are correct. It does not.
Like my dowsing rod, it does nothing. What about Garrett?
Garrett begins chanting in Druidic. She takes her sweet time with it. She takes her sweet time with her spell, but eventually, maybe 10 or so minutes later, after her first cast, it comes out in a big semicircle, in a big circle of dissipated rot.
I would like to know more.
Yeah, really curious about that. Or would I've already seen that spell before, like with the other members of the circle?
She wasn't specifically necessarily casting a spell. God, how to put this? Uh, Garrett described it to you. I basically just kind of they're on. It's connected to the earth. You see, somehow. Not quite sure how that works yet. But you can, if you know how, you can kind of wriggle in between it and the earth and separate them from each other. And I guess that makes it die, she says, looking at the
Interesting.
the thing ahead of her.
Christina's gonna quickly reach for like both of her hands and just like stare intently at her. We wish to learn this, please. Will you teach us?
I can try. I had an idea about that I wanted to talk to you all about after this is over. But it's not something easy to learn to do as a druid. It's not the priests. They can collaborate. They have spells that can specifically hurt this thing. I don't. What I'm doing is more of an individual effort. I can affect more at a time than any of them can, but theoretically they can. It looks like they can add as many as they want to a ritual.
The thing is, your one effort did more than the 5 of them put together.
It did.
And Christina nods at that. We have been trying for years to learn how to defeat this. If you have a way, we wish to learn it as best we can to aid.
After this is over, I'll do my best. I was thinking actually about asking you all if you'd be okay with it for permission to move part of my circle here. To keep an eye out.
Christina quickly looks to Diggeroy. Like a please.
I can't make that decision on my own. I'd have to consult with the Warforged. This is their home. If you can help them, I expect them to accept.
Understandable. But this is. I'd feel much more comfortable if I could watch this in person and work on it myself. And I am
Not unreasonable.
something of an accomplished druid as well. If you're looking to turn this place into an actual home, as opposed to a pile of rock in the ocean, I can bring some help to the table on that front as well.
For a Warforged, a pile of rock in the ocean is a home.
There are now others, Diggeroy. Or there will be.
Fair point. We'll talk.
She nods. I'm going to keep trying on this and just hope that it doesn't eat me.
Yeah, don't get eaten.
Yes.
I agree.
Thank you.
Road tip.
And then she'll use the druidic word for whatever, like, a leader of an enclave would be. As title.
Just Garrett is fine.
You would nod.
Sounds about right. Yep. All right. So the clerics continue working. The Garrett continues poking at the rot. They manage to clear some big spaces of rot. Garrett manages to get another 2 big semicircles free of it. And the clerics each manage several smaller ones apiece.
All this Christina is just watching Garrett and listening and trying to learn something out of it. At least in the meanwhile.
She doesn't say anything super clear. It's mostly just she's muttering in Druidic. It sounds like she's trying to commune with the earth.
Mm-hmm. Just like that sort of creepy, like, staring a little too, like, not blinking as much as one should. Just watching.
Righto. Garrett doesn't seem to mind. Something like that, yep. Eventually, though, Monarch comes back down the hall, comes back down, carrying a pair of very large, what look like black glass spheres. One strapped to his back, one under one arm.
Okay. I'll start telling people to clear out.
Everybody looks at the spheres he's carrying, and they immediately start backing away and climbing back up. All right. Yeah, you all get out. You all get out just fine. Monarch waits until all of you have left. And then he and Binok cast a quick firebolt toward the spheres, and then climb like hell. Just after they've managed to climb up and escape, a resounding explosion sounds. The tumbling of rock drowns out all noise for a few seconds as the tunnel seals itself shut. You all are back in factory control. I'm just going to put you back on the main factory map. And as you come back, Martin and the head of the Shirks, Wayne, come back running from the sound, running towards the sound of the explosion. Martin gets there first and looks to Sidok. Sir, what happened? What the hell was that?
We sealed in one of the tunnels.
His eyebrows raised. Nothing else coming this way?
Shouldn't be.
That's kind of the point.
Okay.
Which isn't to say we won't keep an eye on it.
Of course. It's good news, though. Very good news.
In other good news, I think, depending on how long the clerics are able to stay, we may be able to get ahead of the spread of rot into the factory.
I've been meaning, well, we've been on the barricade, and I was meaning to talk to you about that, actually. Sir?
Yeah.
Not you.
Yes.
Sir, may I speak with you in private for a moment?
Sure.
He leads you outside away from the rest of the party. Out of your shot. Now, sir, I won't pretend to know exactly what you're doing here or what the hands want with this place. But I think it would put my heart in particular, but also several others at ease if we could put something permanent here. My order specializes in this sort of thing, sir. I think we would be an excellent choice to remain as a standing force here and protect against anything else going on with us. And I suppose as insurance for you too.
Well, I can certainly put in a good word for your order, but that's not my decision to make. I'm not in charge of this area.
Of course, of course. What is your interest around here, anyways? No one told me shit all.
Investigating the rot.
And you just stumbled onto it?
More or less.
And I'm not getting anything more than that, am I?
There's nothing more to give.
Of course. Well, let's head back.
Sure. I'll mention to Diggeroy that he offered to keep some people posted here permanently.
Okay.
I mean,
What's
if they
that?
can clear out the rot more efficiently than anything else, seems like it would be a good idea.
I mean, my hesitation with the Druid was only, are they going to get along with the Warforged? Because if they can't stay, then the Paladins, the Druids, they'll have somewhere to go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we can find at least some clerics and paladins who are friendly enough.
It's more a matter of just setting the ground rules, I think.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone
mean-
knows who's in charge.
Doesn't
Regular
necessarily have to
friend
be
groups.
the current leader of the paladins was my point, since he seems a little bit more gung-ho than you're comfortable with.
I'll talk to Manak about it.
Fair enough.
Speaking of, I will actually seek out Manak to have a conversation with him.
That will not be difficult. Manak just returned from setting off the bomb. He's been here this entire time.
Yeah. He's got an office, right?
More or less. He's got a place where none of the other Warforged bother him, yes.
All right, let's go there.
Okay.
And I'll basically lay out the situation. Both the druids and the paladins are interested enough in combating the rot to want to permanently or semi-permanently station people here. How does he feel about that?
Will they interfere with our function?
I can make them promise not to. I think they go along with that. Would you trust their promises?
It is ultimately not my decision, Overseer.
Yes,
If
but
you
I don't
allow
know
them
how
to
Warforged
stay-
think.
If you allow them to stay, it is my duty to accommodate. They will likely be useful in securing the facility once more. It has been many centuries since it was fully secured.
Do you have feelings?
I am fond of the Paladin. He is aggressive, though logical. I do not appreciate his aggression, but his response was most logical. I believe he would be valuable in securing this place. As long as the Druids do not declare us abominations, as some have done in the past, we are acceptable. We find them acceptable.
I mean, that's an obvious standard to apply here, so.
Yeah, as long as nobody declares them abominations, they like not being abominations.
Okay. Um, based on the amount of rot that was removed and the amount of time we spent doing it, and based on his estimates of how fast the rot spreads, does he think the clerics here would be able to keep ahead of the spread of the rot?
We believe so, yes. Given current rates of rot spreading.
Yeah. That's a known unknown. All right. Thank you for your input.
You also intend to have the sharks stay, yes, Overseer?
Yes.
Yes. We will need to speak after this regarding places for them to stay.
Oh.
There is little housing on the island right now, but that is a future concern. Ensuring that the facility survives is a more pressing one.
I agree. All right. Anything else I should know about?
Not currently. The Warforged, the rotted ones, have retreated to within the storage area primarily. They have left a small number of lookouts outside, it appears. But the barricade is not currently under attack.
Well, that's nice.
Oh, if that's over. I'll mention to Diggeroy that we got one of the rotted warforged captured, and probably try to find some priests to go experiment with.
Okay. Do me a favor and inform the druids.
Ah, yes. I'll mention that to Tristona, and I'm assuming the head druid's still with her.
Garrett. Yep.
Yep.
All right. Garrett perks up at the news. She transforms back into her bear form and starts following you towards the rotted one as soon as you leave.
Yep, quickly moving that way.
All right. So, Verhoeven, once you start approaching the barricade, Verhoeven waves you all forward through a group of wounded paladins as the clerics are seeing them, and points at a warforged who is currently restrained magically with several other clerics surrounding him. Normally these... Sorry?
Are any unrotted warforged present?
Not nearby.
But they can see what's going on if they're looking?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like minimum 25 5 feet away.
That's fine.
The ones that aren't directly on the barricade itself are watching with great interest.
Yeah, Kristona's gonna go up as close as she can to see around some of the clerics.
So the Warforged is very still. What passes for its eyes are not currently glowing. It is restrained to the ground with chains that have been wrapped around it several times and fastened to part of the conveyor belt. It does not acknowledge you as you move forward.
Is it unconscious?
Verhoeven shrugs. He shrugs. I don't think so. We didn't hit it very hard, just ran out, got as many chains around it as we could, and dragged it back.
Is there actual rot visible on it?
A little bit. Some of it's peeking out from behind its chest plate. We haven't done anything to it yet. Just kept it here.
I'm gonna turn to Diggory and ask. I know the Warforged are mechanical. Can they be taken apart and then put back together?
That's a very good question.
You are suggesting vivisection.
Not exactly vivisection so much as given the amount of rot that's visible on the outside, it seems likely that most of the rot's inside. Seems like we're gonna have to find a way to clean that some way or another. Might be easier if we can, well, take them apart and clean the parts individually.
Also reduce the amount of mischief they could get up to in the meantime, but let's see if that kills them.
I mean, I feel like we should ask if that kills them.
Oh yeah, no, that's where I'm going now.
I
try it out. Information they already have.
Just like, oh yeah, let's just start disassembling them like that.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna just have to be pretty blunt about this. I'm gonna go ask a Warforged if they can be disassembled without killing them.
One of the random ones near you responds, "We can be very carefully. Some parts cannot."
Are any active Warforged skilled in doing this?
We have 2.
Have one brought here.
Alrighty. So, Monarch eventually pushes through after a signal is sent back through the Warforged, and he is leading Binnock by the wrist. He's kind of pulling him along. Binnock has the skills necessary to disassemble one of us without killing them. He will attempt it on this one if you insist.
What's the risk? What's the hesitation?
corruption.
Good point.
Question: are there chains on this one? Just regular metal?
Yes.
Could he guide somebody else through the task of disassembling it? Maybe not all of the, like finer parts, but at least the
Well, the
bulk
issue with the
parts.
risk of corruption is that applies to organics as well.
Well, I'm thinking maybe we probably have enough people here that there's probably some that have mage hand
That's true.
or some other magical means of, manipulating something without actually touching it. Or at the very least, disposable gloves.
One would at least expect it not to lash out or grow suddenly. If that were able, would it not have already eaten through the chains?
Maybe it's waiting for something.
We
Trying
know
to
it
learn
can
information.
lash out somewhat suddenly because it's done that when we've cast spells at it.
But it has not done it with any of the spells recently in the tunnel. Has there been a trigger that has done so every time?
I don't think we've ever repeated anything that does it.
Sounds like you should. For science.
What did we do that did that? Because I know there was like holy
The
magic. I'm pretty
Hexaplade's
sure.
curse did.
Ah. I thought there was some holy magic that did it too, but I guess not.
I think something I did.
Yes, it did, but it was not nearly as bad as
The curse was the worst one. That was necrotic damage.
the curse was the one that literally lashed out and tried to bite you.
Huh.
Yeah, I think it was when I tried
Christina's
throwing a
used
healing
necrotic
spell at it.
before, and it didn't do anything.
Sorry, what was that, Sidok?
Said I think it lashed out at me when I tried to do a healing spell.
Yes.
Ah.
Healing doesn't work on it. Blessing does.
Yeah. But at least not specifically the necrotic itself wasn't the specific issue.
I don't know if it was the necrotic or if it was the curse factor.
Because it didn't react like that when Christona used her spores that do necrotic damage, so. At least it's not that individual factor. Okay, so healing spells and something with Hexblade Curse.
If I remember correctly, fire was one of the most efficient ways of dealing with it.
Oh yeah,
Especially with respect to Warforged.
Fire's great. It's just
it's getting enough fire going.
Fireballs work great. It's just you can only cast
The real trick is finding enough fire to kill the rot without killing Warforged. Which reminds me, I know heat metal.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably not the way to go about curing the Warforged.
Yeah. I was like, I have that too.
I mean, as an emergency measure, but I don't know, like a steam room might not be enough, but some kind of sauna could, sauna-like experience. I don't know how much fire hurts Warforged compared to rot. So something to put on the list of experiments. But for now, I'm thinking the dissection option isn't really. Let's try some more basic stuff first.
Well, I mean, so my concern is, the next thing we're gonna do is essentially just start, throwing some holy magic and whatnot, at the Warforged in general. And if the rot responds poorly to that and starts fighting back, that might damage the Warforged even more.
I'm gonna press back on that by saying if we don't do something about this that works, he's already dead.
I agree. I guess my point is just, I think taking him apart and trying to clean the parts separately is going to have a better chance of.
Well, I want to give a
survival.
shot to like a general. Let's try to heal the whole thing at once, because if that works, that's our answer. I mean, that's better than I honestly expect to happen, but
Yeah. All right. So get a few priests together to bless all at once. I'm gonna need a old priest and a young priest. And I guess I can be the young priest.
An old priest and a young priest.
Just stay away from stairs.
A young priest to both step up as you say that.
All right. So yeah, let's the three of us all try blessing the Warforged at once. 3 is a good number.
It is. The rule of threes is a thing. All right. So,
Kristona's gonna prepare to attack the thing if it lashes out at anybody.
you all gather around the Warforged in a triangle formation. You begin blessing. The guys from downstairs will tell you exactly which blessings and incantations downstairs. The guys from the tunnel who were experimenting will tell you which blessings and incantations were most effective. And so you begin chanting and praying in front of the Warforged. Make me a spell casting ability check.
Proficiency or no proficiency?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wisdom with proficiency. So much for subtlety.
Oh no!
that's a big damage die.
It's not exactly a damage die.
Yes.
Yes. If I, oh boy, now I'm thinking of things I can throw at you that have D10,000 damage die.
We're pissed off every single god simultaneously.
Yep.
Go big or go home.
So you begin to cast your spell. As you are midway through it, the Warforged eyes begin to glow once again, and he begins to jerk and shake against his chains. And the rot coming from his chest begins to It starts spreading and growing faster for a brief period, and a bit of it tries to leap from the fucking Christ, from the Warforged. I don't know why that was so hard to say. It attempts to leap from the Warforged to you.
Christina's gonna throw a magic rock at it.
Yes, it falls short of you, and as it continues to spread, it begins to glow and suddenly dissipate. The blessing appears to be counteracting it. It doesn't go off quite perfectly, however. There is a surge of magic as you are completing the blessing, and with it comes a bright flash of light. And after it is done, Sadok, you find yourself sealed within a 55-gallon steel drum. But with what appears on the surface to be a uninfected or uncorrupted Warforged.
So we're inside a large steel drum.
You are.
You wild magic?
Go and use the hot hammer that I picked up earlier to try to open a hole in the side of the drum.
Martin kind of knocks on it, and then you smack the side of it and blow a nice big hole in it. Well, I guess you are okay. I was just about to ask.
Yep. Are
Christina's just
we
blinking
looking
between
around? Are we in the exact same spot and a steel drum just materialized around us?
I should be more specific. A steel drum materialized around you. No one else. It is just you.
Alright. I will open the hole up larger so that I can step outside.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to happen?
Oh, well, you know, I like to end all my spells with a steel drum solo.
Like, blink, blink. The ways of the gods are strange.
I respect that. I really do.
Wait, 1 second.
Oh. I forgot you had that!
Holy shit, I do too.
That's amazing.
Oh, I love it.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just saying it now. I'm sorry. I'm saying it now. You get the inspiration for next session just for that.
Oh. Oh. I love you guys. All right. Right. So you just break your way out of a steel drum that has appeared around you. The Martin is looking at you like, that was wild magic, wasn't it? He's kind of filing that away in his head.
I guess turn to the Warforged and see what's going on there.
So he appears to be outwardly uncorrupted. Full process for this, by the way, takes on the order of 2-3 minutes from beginning and setup to you being stuck in a steel drum. You examine the Warforged, and on the exterior at least, he does not appear to be corrupted.
Does anybody have a spell or something that could detect interior corruption? I'll ask the Warforged's designation or his name.
The one who is rotten, or
Yeah.
his designation would be. This is a heavy, so we're going to go with SAR SARFAC. Sarfac. So he has a designation. He is heavily armored and currently non-moving.
Yeah, was anyone able to detect it at all, or any smell still left? I guess that would be the one way we'd be able to detect it without seeing it.
No smell still left. Yeah.
Assume Garrett would be best for that, because bear.
Garrett comes forward, sniffs at the Warforged. And doesn't immediately recall. Seems fine.
Well then, seems like we have a cure. Glance back at the Childrum, though it may have some unintended consequences.
It's something.
Indeed.
Do you remember what happened to you? She's talking to the Warforged.
He is not moving, unresponsive right now.
Oh.
Well, maybe we don't have a cure. I guess ask Banach if he can take a look at him now. See if
Like balloon screen of
you can
death.
identify anything specifically wrong with him.
The drivers need updated.
I will endeavor to check him. We may have killed him, however. At least he's not one of them anymore.
Well, let's see if we can verify that, because if we do, this is extremely good news.
Indeed. You. He points at two random Warforged. Come with me. Bring him. We want to get him to my workshop. Two Warforged pick him up and start carrying him off. You have a barricade standing before you. And a potential cure. Do you want to go with him to his workshop or what do?
I want to be able to help in the workshop, so I'm probably gonna ask what's his name, Captain whatever.
Sapphire Sharks guy?
Yeah, for a situation
Gwaine.
update on the barricade.
Gwaine.
Gwaine, sorry.
Oh, no worries. It's been like 2 weeks since you talked to him. Um, into the factory. Beyond the barricade. We heard a little bit of screaming after that. And then just nothing. Besides that, nothing untreatable. Few wounds on the men, a few breaks on the Warforged. But between the clerics and the paladins, we've gotten all the shocks are fixed up. The Warforged seem to be tending to their own. Most of them seem to know how to fix the little things. The worst ones they're carrying upstairs to one of their tinkers.
All right.
All right.
I think it's time we start figuring out where you guys are gonna sleep.
Are we doing that now?
I want to get the arrangements going.
If you say so. Is there a barracks or anything around, or?
Kinda. That's why I want to get on this now. Just give me a couple of guys you trust to handle details like that. I'll show them what they're working with.
Ah,
I mean, there's the old cult facilities, right?
Yeah. But there's also like a couple hundred guys here, so.
They can hot rack.
I will. Give me a moment, and I'll find you. All right. Gwaine wanders off and then returns with a pair of humans for you. This is Delwyn and Diago. They'll follow you. They'll take care of things for me. I am going to stay here at the barricade.
Should we assist at the barricade for now?
It seems quiet for now. If you want to take watch and relieve a couple of my men so they can get some food and rest, though, that would be much appreciated.
That can be done. She'll head that way.
All right. A couple of men wearing rank markings step off the wall and direct you to their place.
Proper shillelagh and get in there.
All right. The wall is boring and quiet. You can spot a couple of Warforged just milling, rotted Warforged milling about, but they don't appear to be making any moves towards you. Off in the distance, you see one big one as well, over here. Yeah.
Let's keep an observation on that one, because wow.
All right. So Diggeroid, Delwyn, and Iago follow you up.
Mhm.
Where are you taking them exactly?
Basically up to the surface to see what they can see what's going on, the old cult facilities.
All right. Let me just swap this over to there real quick. All right. Oh yeah, I set these up here, and we never ended up using them. Just for the ranks of soldiers
Right.
here.
Well,
Oh shit.
These are Martin and the Sharks and Garrett Strudes. I'd kind of assembled them all out here because I assumed for some reason that you'd be taking them in through the top. Just to let you see how many of them there actually were. But yeah, so remaining there is the church, there is the lovely tower over here, there's a couple beds in this house, in each of the smaller houses. There's probably 30, how many rooms? Call it 10 to a floor, 2 floors, probably 40 beds in this barracks over here. And then there's still the stable over by the door that actually still has guard drakes in it that you guys just never tell.
Oh shit.
Nobody's really dealt with them.
What are they eating?
They seem to just be scavenging on the dead bodies from the barracks. They dragged them back into the stable and are not munching on those. They regard you cautiously, but are not outright hostile. Because, yeah, you just skipped over them the first time you came here. And now you have guard drakes in your stable.
I mean, they didn't do anything to us.
They did not. You're not wrong. Yeah. So you've got maybe 40 beds in the barracks. Call it 20 more in the call it 20 more in the tower. No, probably more than 20. Call it 30 in the tower. And then there's call it 30 to 40 more in the downstairs. So you've got 20, 40, 60, I think 110 is what that works out to. So you've got enough beds to house all of them, and then you can also sleep some on the ship if you have to.
Right.
I mean, if you got druids, they might be able to excavate and set up some stuff too. Like huts.
For sure. But if you just want to like set up some of the sharks with a place to sleep, you can for sure just set them up with the existing beds.
Okay. I figure out the arrangements with the guys and what we would need for a better arrangement.
For a more permanent one,
Yeah. Have them start planning that.
they nod and start getting to work on that. And they head back down and start distributing room assignments amongst all of them and letting people know who can hop off the wall and who has not been. Excellent question. Bauer, what have you been doing?
Why are we so quiet all of a sudden?
We're waiting for you to tell us what you're doing.
It's quiet now. They came from the blackness. You have a warlock slash warlock. What are you? A warlock bard multi-class?
I am.
That's charisma.
Well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not everybody.
Plus,
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sadok has more charisma than Ox did.
Yeah, I'm saying like now you're you're a facey type person, but most of the rest of us face people didn't go that way.
Zero.
I mean, that's true. We don't hear you as often as we did.
Well, I'm a lot less charismatic, so charismatic.
Exactly, that's what I meant.
All right. So you have a bit of a quiet period. Right now, there's no one immediately attacking. What do?
Probably. Time to start getting rest in.
We heard back from Bannock about whether or not the Warforged is alive.
No, not yet. His workshop door is still closed.
Okay. I'll probably just hang out outside the workshop for a while then.
All right.
After whatever shift ends, Kristen will try to find Garrett and get some more information about that communing.
All right. Yeah, we're going to say you have an hour. So take a short rest.
Hooray! I
what
do
do
not
you-
have many hit points.
What do you want to do with your short rest? So you're gonna stay outside the workshop, Sudoku?
Yep.
Okay. The two that brought Sarfak to Benok's workshop are standing outside the door. They look at you as you show up there initially, but don't challenge you. Diggeroy, what are you doing?
Honestly, probably basically napping somewhere near the office where, or command center, or whatever we want to call it. Because I don't know I'm going to get a chance to sleep later when the attack happens, which I assume is coming. I'm going to try and grab some shut-eye now.
Fair enough. You find the most comfortable, which isn't very comfortable, but somewhat comfy.
Yeah, I find the coziest piece of steel to lie down on.
Yeah, basically.
There's a little gold in it. It's kind of soft.
Gold is inefficient, less structurally ideal than steel. So yeah, you crash. Bauer, what are you doing?
Probably finding a bar. If there isn't one, then sleeping.
There is no bar.
There are several bars.
I need a bar that I can drink, not.
I'm sure some of the sharks have enough alcohol on them to essentially be a walking bar.
Then I would go make friends with them.
Basically, yeah. Gwaine rotates off the wall just as you come by. You looking for something there?
Yes. I am looking for a little liquid fun.
Ah, I respect that. Come on, we got some beer back in our quarters. Not too much. We'll be back on duty I'm back on duty in an hour. I can't drink too much, but let's raise a glass. Or
Yeah,
it's
just enough to pass some time.
Exactly.
Raise a glass to freedom.
He makes polite conversation with you as you're heading back to the barracks, asking you, where are you from? Where'd you learn to fight? Stuff like that. Oh, fuck. If you ask him any questions back, though, he is cagey.
Don't want to be a bad guest since he's the one providing all the alcohol.
Very polite of you. But yeah, he gladly raises a glass and chats with you. Cristona, as soon as you're off the wall, maybe half an hour in, you head off and find Garrett. Garrett's back in bear form. He looks at you. You want to learn now?
We would like to learn as soon as possible, but we also wish to say what we know of druids being able to stay here. Will there be conflict with the ones made of metal?
Garrett considers that for a moment. Likely not. They're not the weirdest things we've ever seen. As long as they don't fight us.
From what we have heard, their thoughts are the same.
The best kind of cave mate.
Then I believe you and your enclave are able to stay here without a problem. But there may
Excellent.
also be the mercenaries and the ones of the gods, at least some of them.
That's fine. That paladin is a bit. I don't like him much, but I'll stay out of his way if he's out of mine. The rest of them seem like an okay lot. The mercs seem fun, even.
We are still learning concepts like fun, but are glad that this is amenable to you. And thank you for coming to help.
Garrett looks a little concerned. You're learning fun.
Such a thing is unusual to us. We simply observed from the walls for a long time before the Christona.
Oh. Oh. Things make much more sense now. I'm sorry. I've heard of I've heard of your kind before, but never met one of you.
There have been others with the Christona. We have not seen another before.
They're not common. They do happen. We can, I imagine we can talk more about them some other time, though. If you want me to show you how to deal with rot, or we can try at least.
Yes, that would be good.
Before, well, no, before. Trial by water, as we always say.
It looks confused at
Let's,
that.
Let's find ourselves a bit of rot, shall we?
Give a nod.
You can head into the remnants of the control room, just poke around in there. Or remnants of the tunnel behind the control room, and poke around in there. And Garrett will show you a little hunk of rock with a bit of rot left on it. Now, all druids have at least a little bit of talent at sensing and understanding the nature around them. Feeling the connection of the earth, the sky, the sea, of Atula, Gamir, and all the other nature gods and goddesses, as they combine with nature itself to form everything. Can you sense the earth in this rock? I want you to reach out and try and sense it. Sense the life, the nature, and sense the rot, the death that it represents. Can you do that? Or can you try?
We can surely try.
Make me a wisdom check with proficiency. Spellcasting mod. Spellcasting ability check. You have this general sense of nature, but you can't quite. It kind of seems as if this little bit of rot is being washed out by everything around it. You're not sensing it.
The eyes kind of squint a little bit. We are having difficulty.
It's okay. It's not an easy thing to do. The easiest thing for you to do is to practice. Practice, practice, practice. Keep working on it until you can distinguish the two of them from each other. And I can show you a couple of exercises just to help you along that path that you can keep doing and keep practicing with. Other than that, it takes time and a certain level of skill with druidcraft.
We are willing to spend the time and effort, anything to combat this, anything to learn about it.
Garrett nods. Then he knocks the pebble away, with the rod on it away. Sit. And he turns back into his elf form. Sit. Listen. Follow my instructions.
Just immediately,
Garrett-
unceremoniously plops down.
Garrett begins teaching you a couple of exercises just to help you get a better sense of nature. All right, Sadok.
Yep.
All right, so about 45 minutes into your rest, the door to Binok's workshop opens, and Binok emerges, his eyes glowing a bit less than before.
I take it he died then?
No. He barely lives. Come, see within. I will show you what you almost broke.
I will follow him in.
So, Monarch's workshop has several workbenches filled with specialized tools around the edge. But in the middle of it, there is a long, flat stone table, above which float actually several balls of light designed to give a constant level of illumination and to not be blocked by people standing around the side of it. So they adjust themselves continuously as you and Binok move around the table to keep a constant level of illumination.
Neat.
Binok waves you towards the table and starts pointing at some of the internals. So he's removed the chest plate on this Warforged.
Okay.
So he starts showing you parts inside it. These portions here, they control the arms. If you ever have to do this again, they are non-critical. They can be replaced. They will be painful to replace, but they can be removed without necessarily fatal damage, if you can somehow remove this chest plate. This, similar, non-fatal to remove, super painful. Try not to do too many of these at once, though. The shock can kill us. It is very unclear how exactly some of us stop functioning. In some ways, we are like you. Squishy, soft.
I know the Warforged go into, I don't know what exactly to call it, inactive states, almost a hibernation. Would it be possible to remove and replace these parts while in that state without causing harm?
Possible. It would have to be deep sleep. Otherwise, the pain may awaken them.
Is there a way to force the rotted Warforged into such a state?
Maybe. I'll look into it. Before I do, though, this bit here. He points to a faintly whirring box in the chest of the Warforged. That's closest thing we had to a heart. But this one, the rot hadn't fully gotten in. So he was savable. The rot ever gets inside this, or inside the other one that looks like it that we have up here. He taps his head. That they are likely beyond saving.
I see.
They are central to us. Monarch hypothesizes that these are the places that contain our souls. I don't believe we have souls, but they are what make us thinking, what make us aware.
Makes sense. Did he say we almost broke something earlier with the cleansing?
He is almost dead, but not quite. He will survive.
Is there any way to tell if that almost dead was because of the rot or because of the cleansing of the rot?
Both. And both. The cleansing is. We have attempted gentle methods several times before. Have tried removing rotted parts and replacing. Have tried several methods. Gentle does not work. Pain is needed for cleansing. And seeing. Without suffering, this rot does not loosen its grip.
Perhaps. Can the Warforged rust?
If we are negligent.
Okay, but it would take a long time to do.
Correct.
Almost wondering what would happen if we just bathed one of the rotted Warforged in holy water. If that might be
Would that
little bit less damaging.
de-holify the water?
I mean, presumably. You probably wouldn't be able to reuse it for another.
It is unclear. Nobody's tried bathing things in holy water for a while.
I mean, you couldn't use it for like other holy water purposes, certainly, but
It is unclear at this time.
I'm just wondering if that might be less damaging to the Warforged than just flooding its entire body with holy magic.
That may well be. The Warforged, unfortunately, have no way of producing holy water. So, they've never tried it. They can't tell you.
It's okay. I know some guys who have the hookup.
They got the hookup, eh?
But yeah, unless Banak has anything else to say to me, I guess I'll just thank him for his time and head back to the priests.
All right. Martin and the priests are happy to see you. How goes it, sir?
The exorcism was a success.
It's very good news.
Patient's not in great condition, but alive.
Martin's eyebrows raise, and he lets out a sigh of relief. Good. Excellent, actually. I'm happy to hear it. Means we don't have to kill them all.
Yes. Some of them will almost certainly end up dying, at least in the cleansing process, if not in battle. The rot hadn't spread to any of its critical parts, so I would also try to avoid getting infected yourself.
Of course. It's good, though. Means there's actually a chance of saving them. Sir, in the event, I assume that since you blew the wall, since you destroyed the other tunnel, we're going over the wall into the Warforged storage, right?
Sorry, say it again?
You destroyed the other tunnel, so we're going to be going over the wall into the Warforged storage, aren't we?
I do believe that is the plan. I'll look to Diggory.
At some point, there's two drivers for that. One, we want to save as many Warforges as possible, and two, we want to have as few rotted Warforges as possible. Cutting off the storage seemed like a extra bad idea.
Right. So,
But yeah, we're gonna have to push in there eventually.
when we do you want us to focus more on surviving or on saving them?
I think we'll probably end up sort of splitting into different groups. I imagine our, priests, druids, and other casters will mostly be using their spells to try to entangle or capture the Warforged from afar. Have the sharks and the paladins forming more of a defensive barrier. Make sure the Warforged aren't able to get to the spellcasters.
But we are focusing more on capturing them.
Yes. If they mount a large-scale assault, we'll either need to retreat or fight them back, though.
Yeah, first priority is going to be survive and hold on to what we have. After that, we prefer to capture for eventual curing. But if you're choosing between capturing them and getting yourself killed, don't get yourself killed.
Understood. Good to have clear rules of engagement.
It remains to be seen how intelligent they are, I think, when they're rotted.
Well, I have they've seemed too coordinated to be stupid, I think.
True. On the other hand, the one we ran into in the tunnels weren't particularly efficient in their tactics. And at least one of these rotted Warforged let you run up to it and chain it without any difficulty.
True. All I'm saying is I have a bad feeling. Like, the worst is yet to come.
Isn't it always?
If it was easy, they wouldn't have sent us, I suppose. we're here. And we will fight and die if duty calls us.
Just nod at that.
I'm gonna go make ready the wall. Make sure that we're ready. Make sure that the mercs are too. See you there.
Oh, one thing I should have asked Binook before leaving. Do you have any estimate on how long it'll take for the Warforged to be back up and moving around?
Oh, the one you just blessed?
Yes.
Benak would have told you a couple hours, probably.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're built pretty sturdy.
Yeah. All right then. I was gonna say we might want to be careful about how many we try to cleanse at once, so you'd make sure that we have enough people to watch over the ones who are recovering. But if they heal that quickly, might as well go as fast as we can.
Yeah.
All right. So, about an hour after you're done resting, or about an hour after you begin to rest, Minok comes to you, Dinoroy. There is trembling in the storage area. We believe they are moving soon. We ask all to make ready.
Do we have any sense of their numbers?
Greater than ours.
That's including the paladins, mercs, and druids.
Yes. All right. We are going to reinforce the barricade. We expect the attack within 10 minutes. Make ready. Come. I will be there. Yep. You have 10 minutes.
Start to raise the alarm, I guess, and get everybody.
Yeah.
All right. The paladins are primarily on watch. One of the Warforged heads above and starts shouting for the sharks who are in the barracks currently to get their asses up and come down. The druids pop up from where they were napping and head towards the barricade as well. Garrett looks at Cristona on hearing the noise from above and says, I think we need to leave. That does not sound good.
I frown
That's
at
all right.
being in the middle of working, but gives a nod and stands up. It must be time to continue the fight.
All right. So you all assemble at the barricade. It is quiet at first, just the humming and empty noises of the factory. Before
Do you hear the
You be-
people sing?
God damn it.
Sorry.
Before you begin to hear the clomping of metal feet on metal and clanging as they come up the stairs. It's not entirely uniform sounding as well. You hear several heavier than the rest. As the clanking and clanging gets louder. The Warforged are obviously coming closer and closer to you. One of the big Warforged steps through the gate, clanking, roaring. As a flood of smaller ones follows him through. And then a second. And then you hear a pounding on the other side of the door. And then the scream of metal as it's ripped apart. And a third big one enters the barricaded room. Bedecked in spikes, blood, and the bodies of Warforged sharks and a couple of drow alike. It is preceded and followed by hundreds of Warforged who pile into the room. And it looks directly at the barricade, towards all of you, and points and roars. And as it does, the Warforged begin to charge. And I think that's where we're going to end for tonight, my guys.
Fuck.
This is fine. Everything is fine.
I'm not gonna be here next week.
Oh yeah, shit.
can't even record it. Someone's got to record it. Chris, record it.
We'll try.
So yeah.
Motherfucker. Why you gotta do this to me, boo?
I like him. I've been waiting to spring him on you for weeks.
That is definitely some near shit.
Yeah, when I said that this whole thing is at least a little bit inspired by that scene in Nier in Automata where the machines start eating people.
Yeah.
That is
Damn
correct on more levels than you have currently seen. That's all I'm gonna say on that topic.
Yeah, feel free to Jaeger as needed. I've got some spell slots left.
Come on, you didn't think this was going to be easy. You didn't think I was going to pass up the opportunity to give you guys a boss fight, did you?
Oh, hell no.
Exactly. Besides, I promise you'll hit level 5 after if you survive it.
Okay, good. I got most of my spell slots. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm so happy. So yeah, that guy's there.
Fuck.
Questions, comments, concerns. I wanted to have some more background lore stuff for you guys ready this week, but things did not go according to plan.
Damn it, I want internet on the plane.
I'm not sure how well your fellow